As soon as the four stones had returned to Phandlin, an unruly mob of miners took Glasstaff and Narth and disappeared into the hills. After unsuccessfully looking for their former prisoners, the four stones rested before gathering more information in the morning. Now they are on their way to find Cragmaw Castle. You are headed out of town early in the morning after a good night's rest. You head northwest towards the city of Canterbury, taking several days until you arrive to the ruins that once were Canterbury. When you get there, you find an old trail that leads northwest from the ruins into the Neverwinter Woods.
Azorio surveys the ruins, taking in the wreckage and seeing how this place was just laid waste, probably by goblins or orcs, and he is glad that he hasn't yet met his demise.
Azorio unwittingly is saying this all out loud as he stares at a small average rock.
Nice.
Azurio, you hear behind you Sildar say, Azurio, are you okay? Is there something up with that rock?
I just am ready to get to the Cragmaw Castle, says Azorio. That way I can finally do some good for my Wizards Guild and restore the altar of Ogma.
Indeed, says Sandwich. We will dethrone this Maglubiet goblin from his vile throne.
Yeah, Sildar says, Sandwich, you do realize that it is a god and not a sitting king.
Well, whatever the goblin's name is we will dethrone him from that shrine.
You scratch your back, I scratch mine. We took care of the ass staff, and now we'll check one off my laundry list, says Azorio.
Splendorius sits atop the old wagon that you had used on your first journey into Phandlin.
Azorio, Splendorius, now that my quest is complete and Glasstaff has been rid of this land, I will gladly accompany you both on your personal journeys.
Yes. And what can we do for you, Splendorius?
There are many things that you can do for me. Of course, it will involve lots of daring feats of bravery and perhaps a little subterfuge here and there. But I believe that when we return to Neverwinter, we will make a great splash upon the social scene there. They will not know who we are, but they will soon be impressed by our deeds, our quick wit, and our money. And soon we will begin to accumulate great wealth and power, women, glory. It will all be ours. And our glory will shine for 1,000 years.
I agree with you, says Azorio. I like that idea we had of perhaps starting a headquarters of some sort. I like that we are having those people back at Phandlin guard the manor for us. Maybe that manor could be our first headquarters.
I think that if we don't have any other options, that place has our name on it.
Sildar says, I just hope your plans don't interfere with the Lord's Alliance.
The Lord's Alliance will be a good ally for us for now. However, soon they will come to see us as equals, and perhaps eventually they will see the wisdom of our way, and perhaps they will soon be asking us for advice.
Yes, says Azorio. In fact, I think the Lord's Alliance may need a better vetting process if they're letting imbeciles in like Glasstaff, the ass staff.
Yes, we do not let in idiots into our four-stone corporation.
That's right. We're all really smart.
It's true. Why? My intelligence is 11. I feel like I'm just as smart as the next person. I have literally average intelligence. Sandowish? Azorio? Sildar, be quiet. What's your intelligence? 7?
Well, I don't mean to brag, and I don't mean to boast. My intelligence level is the same as milquetoast, 10.
Azorio says, well, enough with these petty comparisons. Do you think we should explore these ruins or just go straight off into the forest where the Banshee probably is?
As you say that, Azurio, you see that Sandowish is already sneaking around some of the rocks, and you just catch a glimpse of him dashing behind one of the old stones to search for treasure and traps.
Sandowish, you look between the ruins, but there's not much left of Coneyberry. Clearly it's long ago has been ransacked, and there seems nothing left of it other than the stone walls of buildings.
Sandowish is going to go ahead and do another graffiti tag on one of the cool, rune stone pillars.
You grab into your pockets and realize all you have for graffiti is the ink well from Glasstaff's desk.
I use it.
What do you draw?
I write Sandowish and then one of those S's that people always drew. Thing that everyone drew in junior high school on their desk. Sandowish starts with the S, the cool S.
Sandowish dips his pen into the inkwell and brings the quill towards the rocks. He begins to scrape in the classic high school desk S, but his quill is quickly dashed against the rocks that are only a few feet high off the ground.
Dashed against the rocks? What do you mean?
Your quill is ruined.
Oh.
Your feather quill was clearly only meant to handle paper and parchment.
Splendorius looks over at Azorio and he says, somebody clearly has a 9 or below intelligence. Right, Azorio?
Oh, he's no better than a homo habilis for not using tools correctly.
Guys, just wait up. I'm almost done here. All right?
Sandowish picks up a rock to carve at least the S into the stone, but the stone he picks is crumbly and chalky, and it falls apart as he tries to scrape the S in, only leaving a faint white outline of the S on the rock. Sildar says, Sandowish, are you done? You've been over there for a while. Are you okay?
He sees that Sandowish is already back on the cart.
Oh, well, gentlemen, should we head into the woods?
Splendorius looks at Azorio and gives him the look.
I hate when he does that.
Yeah, I hate it when he does that. Splendorius says, what is the significance of the ruins here? Why did we stop other than to just see yet more proof that orcs and goblins must be exterminated from this land?
Sildar says, well, Sister Gorilli was hoping that we would find out the location of a tome that she's been looking for.
And you think this tome is here?
No, supposedly this Banshee knows the location, and we can then relay the information to Sister Gorilli.
So we're just stopped here just to take in the sights.
Azorio says, well, I, for one, find it fascinating how certain cities are laid out, how their structures are put together like a beehive of sorts, and just fascinates me, really. You know, I told you a couple nights ago about my dream of some better method for conveying water throughout buildings, so thanks for humoring me and letting me take a gander.
Well, I prefer to see how my counterparts, the aristocracy, might have lived back then. I like to see their grandeur and to see how they tried to organize the masses so that they didn't wind up just shitting their pants and sitting around all day. Put them to work, you see.
Sandowish says, and I like to see how much riches are in this city for me to take for myself, as I am a roguish halfling. But as you can see, there's nothing here for me.
You look around, and there's just piles of rocks.
All right, well, we're going to walk around and we're going to look for anything interesting that we can immediately find, but otherwise we're going to have to move on.
Yeah. Well, the interesting you find is the trail going northwest into the Neverender Woods.
That is interesting.
This is probably the most interesting thing I've seen all day, but there's a trail that goes off into the Neverwinter Woods.
You guys don't want to look at rocks for another 20 minutes?
I'm more interested if we can perhaps find some of this treasure that Sandowish has been alluding to.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be treasure in every city or village, and since it's not here, it must have gone somewhere, but it couldn't be far.
Yes, it couldn't be far. Perhaps it's on this trail going into the woods.
Could just be littered about on the side of the trail as the people fled from the orcs.
But wait, when they were fleeing the orcs, but these are ruins. This must have happened thousands of years ago.
Possibly even hundreds of years.
Perhaps it was last year. Perhaps this all... Okay, anyway, let's move on.
Zorio, you realize that it did not happen at least last year.
No, I don't believe it happened just last year. It was further back than that.
Splendorius then says, wait a second. I've got an idea, you see. Is it possible that perhaps we are witnessing a city that does not yet exist, and we are seeing its ruins in the future? Or perhaps we have traveled back in time, or perhaps we have gone forward in the future.
From the trail in the woods, you hear,
It's comforting to know that in the future there are still wolves here to eat us should we die.
wolves say who?
Yes, in the future, that's how wolves sound.
That's a very interesting theory, Splendorius.
Just know that we should be thankful that we made it to the future in one piece.
Sandowish pulls the great axe parking brake on the carriage and says, "Yah, get along there," to the oxen and continues the cart forward.
Sanders pulls the axe parking brake and urges the oxes on, and they hurry towards the woods and then stop before crashing into the trees.
Oh no.
The trail northwestward into the woods is but a footpath.
Oh no.
It looks like we will not be able to continue with our wagon along this path into the woods. So let me get this straight. We've got a path going into the Neverwinter Woods, and then we've got, what are our other options? Where else can we go here? Is this the way to the Banshee?
Sildar says, well, the Banshee is supposed to be nearby the ruins of Canterbury. Mayhaps.
This is supposed to be somebody powerful, yes? And they just have a trail going up to their front door?
I don't know how powerful this Banshee is, but Sister Greeley seemed to not mention that it was a dangerous Banshee.
Sildar, what can you tell us about banshees? I myself have never met one.
In all my years, I haven't really met one either, you know? It's a strange thing. I haven't really met a lot of ghosts in my time.
Ghosts?
Ghosts?
I've heard tales of old, but never of a ghost banshee. I thought they were creatures from the underworld.
Wait a second. You're telling me that we're going to be dealing with undead?
Yes.
And we don't have a cleric with us? Gentlemen, we are fucked.
Well, we do have that silver comb to maybe persuade her to give us the information that Sister Greeley wants.
You think it's going to be that easy? Trust me, this is going to be something that's going to involve lots and lots of planning and force.
We may not have a cleric, but you saw how good I healed Sildar back at the Goblin Cave.
Yes, and Sildar holds up his shirt to show a large scar going across his side.
See, just like new.
Yeah, but I do not want any scars. I want at least a cleric who will be able to heal me good as new.
We'll have to suffice with my correspondence course that I took a few years ago.
We do have several healing potions, though, that we found.
That is true. I have one of them. It heals for 1d8 of hit points.
Whatever that means.
Is there anything that we need to know about a banshee that will allow us to perhaps be better prepared for our encounter with it?
We might need a good pair of earplugs from what I've heard.
Beeswax, if we have any.
I prefer to mind my own, thank you. Now, perhaps anybody could tell me, why do we need to block our ears? Why would we need beeswax?
It's just loud.
This banshee talks loudly? That does not sound very scary.
Well, I don't know. I've never met a Banshee before. I don't know what decimal level she might reach with her wails.
See? I care not for some loud woman. I don't know about you guys, but I am not scared of a loud female. I will go in there and tell her what's what. She will have to listen to me. I am a noble.
She will be no match for the 4 stones.
Yes. the 4 stones. She will have to listen to us. She will be the one that will need the earplugs. We can be loud too, can't we, boys? Especially with my axe here.
Sildar puts his fist out. He says, "Let's roll, stones."
Let's go.
Splendorius goes first, and he puts his axe out with 2 hands to lead.
Splendorius leads the way into the trail, axe held before him. The forest grows dark and still as the trail winds deeper into the woods. Heavy vines and thick layers of moss drape the branches, and the air is noticeably colder than it was in the ruined village. Rounding a bend in the trail, you see a screen made of wrapped branches of trees standing close together, woven into a dome-like shelter in the shadows. A low doorway leads inside.
What an interesting structure, says Azorio.
Splendorius says,
Okay, everybody, here's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to follow me very closely. But first, Sandowish.
then he looks at Azorio.
And he says, I hate it when he does that.
You see, Sandowish is graffitiing a tree.
Sandowish has drawn his sharp blade, and in the stillness of the woods has carven a perfect S into the tree. It's easily recognizable from feet away, and beside it, he's scribbled the rest of his name of Sandowish.
This, my comrades, is called thinking ahead. Now, if we go into this subterranean dwelling and come out another exit, we'll know that it's not the same one because this tree won't be there.
Yes, S marks the spot.
As for checking for traps, I don't think there's going to be any traps in somebody's front door, but I'll look anyways. Sandowish, check for traps.
Sandowish walks over to the open woven doorway and looks for any traps. He doesn't see one, but through the doorway, a home of sorts is sheltered within the dome of woven branches.
Sandowish says, all right, everyone, it's clear of traps. Go ahead in, or maybe we should knock. It seems like it's someone lives here.
Splendorius says, Step aside. I will handle this.
He knocks on the open doorway.
Splendorius knocks on the open doorway, but no one is there. All he sees is a building that is sparsely furnished with chests, shelves, a table, and a reclined couch, all of it old and of elven craft.
Wow.
Elves, huh? I don't trust them one bit. Splendorius says, do you think I should see if anybody's home?
Yes, or maybe we should go in and make ourselves comfortable and wait for the return of the inhabitant, says Azorio.
Yeah, from what I've gathered of these forest folk, they seem good-natured and will often welcome you into their hovels. It would be appropriate if we lounged for a moment on this couch.
Really?
And Sandwich lays down on the reclined sofa and starts to try to take a nap.
Sandowish enters the home and reclines on the couch, easing the nerves the rest of the 4 stone. The 3 enter in, taking seats on the chests or hanging around the table. The air grows cold, and a powerful feeling of dread grips you. A cold, pale light flickers in the air, rapidly taking the form of a female elf, her hair and robes waving in the spectral wind. She might have been beautiful once, but a hateful expression twists her features now. Foolish mortals! What do you want here? Do you not know it is death you seek me out for?
Whoa, Azorio bids her. It seems like you're just having a bad hair day, lady. We got a comb for you. Someone produce the comb.
Sandowish jumps behind the couch and hides because he's scared.
Sandowish jumps up in fright and almost trips over the back of the couch, but his skillful dexterity allows him to turn it into a nimble roll and ducks behind the back of the couch.
Up from behind the couch, Standowish's head slowly peers over. You see his straightened, bleached bangs, his eyebrow ring, and an eyeshadow pop up. In his hand is this little silver comb, and he says, "Oh, this might belong to you?"
The ghostly figure smiles with cold amusements. Very well! I know that you seek many things. In exchange for the comb, I will answer your questions.
Azorio speaks. Do you have a tome you wouldn't mind parting with that could be...
I have no tome! I did once, but I gave it away to a necromancer by the name of North from the city of Ereborn more than 100 years ago!
Can you spell the name, please?
T.
No,
S.
no, you can't do it that way.
T-S-E-O-N-O-T-H from the city of I-I-A-E-B-O-R.
That made it so much harder.
Yeah.
I love it.
Now give me the comb!
Standowish falls over behind the couch, and the comb flies up into the air when he falls over.
Agatha, her spectral form, flies over, plucking the comb from the air, and she begins to comb her hair, and is no longer flapping in the spectral wind, but now sits nicely around her shoulders, though her robe continues to flutter. Is there anything else you wish to know?
If we had a belt, we'd give it to you, but we don't have any belt for you, says Azorio.
Well, that's kind of you.
Our contact is going to be pretty disappointed. We thought you had the tome, says Azorio rudely.
And she disappears, angry at your insolence.
We were supposed to flatter her, dude. Oh well.
Splendorius is hiding and shaking behind a chair. He can't even look and see what was going on, and he wasn't paying any attention to what was happening because he's very scared.
Sildar had overturned the table and pops back up from behind it with his fingers in his ears, and he says, "Is everyone all right? Is everyone all right?"
Yes.
What?
Just another unkempt elf woman.
1 second, let me get my fingers out of my ears. What was that, Azorio?
I said, nothing. We got some information, but this side quest is going to be more of a wild goose chase than we initially thought.
Well, I believe Sister Grayley only wanted to know of the whereabouts of this tome.
Aha, that is helpful to know, says Azorio.
Then we have accomplished yet another quest. Chalk up the XP, boys.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Here's the problem. We're going to have to go back there, and we're going to tell her where the tome is, and then you know what she's going to do?
Tell us.
She's going to make us go and get it. Obviously. If she could get the tome from the necromancer herself, she wouldn't have to outsource to find out where exactly it is, right?
That's why what we've got to do is pen a note and attach it to one of the ox. Then we'll slap the ox and send it in the direction of Phandlin. The note will make its way back to Gorelia, and then we will get the XP.
Yes.
Azorio says, first I would need to master some sort of spell that would put the essence of a homing pigeon or a carrier pigeon into this ox. I do not believe this ox will know how to find Sister Grayley.
But is it not so that there was only one path here, thus one path back, Azorio? Standowish says rudely.
We should not underestimate the intelligence of the ox.
You two are beginning to think alike, I can see, and I'm going to have to parse the wild and zany thoughts that are cropping up in your skulls.
Why, Azorio, we've only learned from the best by being with you.
They called me the Gordian, but I've never seen someone tie so many knots of reason together like a tangled web like these trees that make up this house.
Sandwich exclaims, "That's it, Azorio. You're a genius. The house. That's it. The house of tangled roots and vines. We gotta search this place and maybe there's another clue."
We could just live here.
More real estate.
I claim this house in the name of the Four Stones. Perhaps we should get a flag and we will mount it on top of the house for all to see that it belongs to the Four Stones.
Sildar says, I mean, do you really want to share a house with a Banshee?
A rough roommate, says Azorio.
You search the room in fear of Agatha returning and find nothing among the few items that are in this woven building. Sandwich opens the chest and nothing is within but dust and spiders.
I'll take the chest then.
Your small body lifts the chest.
Load it back up on the cart.
The Four Stones head back to Canterbury with their knowledge for Sister Gareli and an empty chest. As you leave the building, Sildar says, my God, Sandwich, that really is a wonderful carving. And we know that we haven't been transported to another dimension. Well, let's head on to the cart.
I knew you were with us on that one, Sildar.
The Four Stones are back at their wagon in the Canterbury ruins. Sildar says, I know that Darner wanted us to head south to the Old Owl Well.
What exactly is at the Old Owl Well?
Well, I suspect that it's a well that draws up old owls.
Now I know you're pulling my leg, Sildar. Okay? No more jokes.
Oh,
No more jokes.
You got me.
But come
you
on,
got me.
I don't know this area that well, so to speak. Pardon the fun.
Like an old owl, the Four Stones hop back on to their wagon and head the oxen southward into the hills. You reach a low ridge, and as you crest, you spy a crumbling ruins of an old watchtower standing amid the rugged hills. The place is so old that the walls are only mounds of rubble encasing a courtyard of sorts adjacent to a broken stump of an old tower. A colorful tent has been set up in the middle of the courtyard, but no one is in sight.
Sandwich says, do you think that colorful tent is the strange happenings that Eldermath Glowerberry was talking about?
Who's Glauberberry?
Eldermath the Elder was talking about?
You mean Darner Eldermath?
Darner, do you think that mysterious colorful tent in the center of these ruins is the mysterious happenings that Darner Eldermath was talking about?
Darner Five-Sword Eldermath?
Yeah.
I think this may just be something that's happens to happen on the way to the strange happenings, said Azorio.
Well, it seems that might be a well in the middle.
Oh, is there a well there? I didn't see that before.
Well, it might be a watchtower.
Let's all go then towards those ruins.
Aye, says Azorio.
Let's all go towards that tent.
The Four Stones head down the hill towards the ruins. As they reach the tent, zombies begin to spill out of the top of what's left of the watchtower.
Sandwich says, it's an ambush!
Splendoria screams.
I hate the undead. They are so disgusting.
The zombies are slow, crawling down the short walls of the watchtower ruins. You draw your weapons, but are interrupted from a man who burst from the tent. What's going on here? You see a stout, red-robed figure with sallow skin, a shaved head, and a black tattoo on his forehead burst forth from the tent. Hold on everything! And the zombies stop where they are, still clinging to the walls of the watchtower. What is the meaning of this? He says to you, the Four Stones.
We do not mean to disrupt anything. If these zombies are your charge, Necromancer, then we will be on our way. We're heading to the Old Owl Well. Do you know if we are on our way? Says Azorio.
This is the Old Owl Well. What do you want?
Well, now we know that at least.
Be ye a necromancer?
Says Splendorius.
Yes, clearly.
Have ye ever heard of a tome of power? We look for this tome.
I know of many tomes, but you need to be more specific.
Sandwich says, oh, hello there. I am Sandwich Hogue, a halfling rogue, and the tome we seek is that of Timora, the goddess of luck.
I don't know much of this, but you must leave my studies. You are bothering us.
One more question, Necromancer. What is your name?
I am Nathril.
Have you ever heard of a necromancer named Chernoth of Siabor?
He was alive hundreds of years ago. Why do you ask him?
It is with him that the tome resides, the tome that we seek.
When he says that, Splendorius says,
I knew it. I knew it all along. We're in the future, I'm telling you, right now. Necromancer, does Neverwinter's dangerous dark future?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness.
What do you mean by future?
We have traveled from back in time, and we seem to have found ourselves in this strange land.
That is an impressive skill. Are you wizards as well?
Yes, we are. And you must tell us, in this strange new land, if we can find the necromancer that my associate just mentioned. Or perhaps do you have any quest for us?
No, he died hundreds of years
Well,
ago.
whatever. Listen, time doesn't mean anything anyway. Now you listen to me. Is there any quest that you want us to do for you so we can curry favor with you? Clearly you are a man of great power, worthy of respect. Perhaps you would like to join us in our quest. We could use with some extra zombies.
No, I cannot leave my ruins here. I am studying.
What are you studying?
I will not tell you.
Why not?
It's personal.
You're studying something very personal out here? Are you keeping a diary?
I do keep my tome of my spells, and I don't need people like you roaming around. I will ask you a favor.
Yes?
To the south is a horde of orcs, and I've seen them scouts looking here, and I don't need them raiding. I have my zombies, but how many orcs can they defend off?
It's a shame to know that orcs are still in this future as well.
I'll give you 100 gold if you can drive these orcs off.
So you're telling me that you are not powerful enough to drive off these orcs yourself? You're probably a level 1, 2 at best, huh? Is that what we're dealing with here?
Get them, boys! The zombies start crawling down the...
Splendoria says, okay, too far. Just kidding.
Hold it, my zombies.
Yes, we will do your quest, but then in return, you must do something for us.
What do you need?
Azorio, tell him.
As long as you give us the 100 gold, I think we'll be all right.
Splendoria says, hey, come on, make him throw in another tome or something that he doesn't want. Maybe you could get some more spells in your little spell book, huh? What do you say?
Ah, yes. You can pay us 75 gold, but let me copy a level 2 spell from your spell book.
I will give you this jeweled box and a scroll of darkness. He holds out a bone tube, as well as a potion of healing, since it seems you do not have any clerics with you.
We don't have clerics, but I did take a correspondence course in healing one time.
Dance, zombies! And the zombies begin to dance.
Right, this is obviously Anson DMing, right? This is obviously Anson.
One of the zombies bends open with his ribs exposed, and another zombie pulls out 2 leg bones and starts playing his ribs like a xylophone.
Splendoria starts to jive with it. The music makes Splendoria less scared of the zombies.
Thrill, can you actually give that healing potion to us in advance? We may need it to defeat the orcs.
If you promise to go defeat them, I will.
We go into a little huddle.
Sandwich says, wait, is this...
What are we talking about?
Yeah, Nithril's in there too.
Splendorius looks around at all of them and he goes,
How are we going to get this guy? Let's really put the screws on him.
Sandwich says, wait, is this a mysterious enough happening to be the mysterious happening that Elder Math was talking about?
Elder Math?
Yes, do you know him?
Maybe, but don't tell him it's mysterious here. It's not that mysterious. I don't need anyone coming around here.
All right, guys, let's bring it in a little closer. And Sandwich huddles Nithril in a little closer.
We look over to our right, we see a zombie is with us, still dancing.
Yeah. The zombies in the huddle too.
You look around, and now the zombies are dancing in a circle around you, each playing a different body part of the next one.
We kind of start doing that synchronized huddle that they do in the NFL or whatever.
You begin swaying to the beat of the zombies.
Is there any reason we shouldn't expedite this quest in front of all the other ones? Says Azorio.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think we should do this one first, right, Nithril?
I think it would be best to deal with these zombies now. I don't want them to ruin my work that I am so hard doing. Damn zombies! Harder!
So who of us knows Eldermath? I don't know him that well. Do you know Eldermath, Azorio?
I do not know him. I just know we saved him, so...
And he's looking for something mysterious by the old owl well.
Well, you should tell him that nothing to worry about.
Well, that sounds good enough for me. I think that quest, we can check that one off.
Yes, don't tell him anything.
Okay. All right. You guys ready to put it in and break?
The
5
5
stones. Put it in, Nithril.
That doesn't come out right in the math. Whatever, Nithril. Put your hands in. The stones.
Long live the stone.
When you say the stones, you hear all the zombies go, the stones.
Sandwich says, Nithril, can you command your zombies to get on the wagon? I don't really know how.
No, the zombies stay with me.
That wasn't part of the deal.
Yeah,
You're supposed to
coming
come with us,
right?
Oh, Will?
Come on. This place sucks.
If you promise not to tell this elder mouth,
Pinky promises.
very well. Keep that pinky. Your promise is real.
Zombie Pinky.
Splendoria says,
Having a friend necromancer makes me recognize the humanity in the undead. You know, maybe they're not so sterile.
And they certainly know how to play a tune.
Yes, the tune was quite good, as I recall. And that Boney is just a little cute, isn't she?
Nay.
Yes, Boney. I feel, Boney, I pledge to protect you with my life. I believe that you will take us far. Perhaps you will be the mascot of the 4 stones.
Nay.
the 4 stones.
Hey guys, don't forget about me.
And Boney.
Featuring Boney, the zombie horse. You begin with your zombie horde on the back of the wagon. You hear Boney behind you. He's a very slow horse.
How does Boney neigh? Oh, Boney doesn't sound too good.
Well, he is a dead horse.
Is it just me, or was that Banshee quest maybe a little bit too easy?
I think perhaps she could pop out at any moment and kill us when we least expect it.
What Banshee is this?
Agatha, says Azorio.
Agatha, I believe she could answer a question that I have. I'll have to go there myself.
What's your question, Nithril?
I know that Agatha will know what wizard built this tower that I'm doing my research on.
You're doing research on the tower. Why?
Well, for my spell book, you know, the common wizard things that wizards do. You wouldn't understand, but Azaria would. Anyway, let's keep our eye out for these orcs. We don't want to be ambushed.
I do know what you're talking about, says Azorio. For Splendorius, it would be like finding a nice estate to be decadent in and just luxuriate in all the resplendent opulence. Think of that, except for a wizard, it's more of a secluded area where we can study our tomes and perfect our spells.
You are talking about a life of the mind.
Indeed, for that is much what a wizard must rest on, his intelligence. I told you that when I came in, I had not brawn to join the army, or I had not the dexterity to be a rogue, but I had a mind that I could occupy myself with, so I swept at the Temple of Ogma, and I mopped, and I cleaned the mirrors, and I polished the glass, and I polished the dishes. I was an aquatic sanitation engineer of sorts, but eventually they gave me my spell book, and the rest is history. Here I am now, with you guys, on the way to slay some orcs. Yes! I can't wait to use some spells against these orcs. This is gonna be awesome.
Yes, I got my first spell book because I actually was a mortician, but I found a spell book and decided it was a much better line of work for me.
And that's what's cool about wizards. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Nethril.
I just say I have zombies do work for me. Very, very good funeral home and tell people a little weird. They see their old grandma putting more people in ground and get mad at me. So I go out and expand my spell book to be more of a wizard.
That is a very strange story.
Sandwich says, "Oh, Zurio, I had no idea you were in the hospitality industry. I too come from that line of work. For my upbringing, I worked in restaurants and banquet halls and finally found myself in a small fiefdom where I tended to a lady and lord. And there I found that it was an easier line of work to just steal the silver rather than set it."
I understand, says Azorio. In a sense, I've never pilfered before, but I could see how that might expedite your ambitions, expedite your, well, what am I trying to say? Your goals, your, the certain je ne sais quoi that...
Perhaps with our combined experience with your aquatic sanitation and my table setting and service, we could open a small establishment.
Yes, I think that would be great.
Serve food and drink.
We could have that as part of our headquarters. We could have sort of the restaurant up front and then in the back where we make our plans and Splendorius, masterminds his ideas that he has for the 4 stones.
Well, where do you think you're going to get the money to open all of this?
From this quest and from the other quests we've done.
Oh, no.
More financially well set up than I've ever been.
That's not going to be enough. Do you know how much rent is these days in Neverwinter? Our restaurant won't last a month. We're going to need a lot more funding. Funding that my family shall provide.
Well, that sounds like we've got that problem solved.
But I will not be able to have access to that money otherwise, unless I am going to do something entrepreneurish. I had no need for any entrepreneurship when I decided to become an adventurer. However, your restaurant idea has got me very intrigued.
And maybe we can call this establishment entrepreneurish.
That sounds like it has a very nice ring to it.
Nourishment. We'll provide nourishment for adventurers and the aristocracy as well. We'll give the adventurers a real taste of the high life.
I would eat there. That does sound wonderful. Even I would eat there, and I'm a very picky eater.
We could have your zombies be part of the waiter staff.
We'd have to deal with the smell, but we could find a way. Then the faint smell of smoke hangs on the air as you ascend a rugged ridge on the lower slope of the hill. 50 yards away, a cave mouth opens up at the bottom of a ravine. Hunkered down at a boulder 20 yards outside the cave, keeping watch, is a single orc.
Sandwich says, "That's it. The smell of smoke. We can cover up the zombie stench with a smoky atmosphere."
Yes, but maybe we pay attention to task at hand with this orc problem.
Nathril, as he says that, he sees that Sandwich is already crouching down on the trail with his crossbow aimed at the orc standing guard.
Nethril looks at the 3 stones and says, "I hate when he do that."
Splendorius walks over. He puts his hand on Sandwich's shoulder.
Fire?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the shot. Before he unleashes the bolt, Sandwich brushes his perfectly straightened bangs to the side.
Sandwich, steadied by Splendorius' hand on his shoulder, aimed his crossbow and looses the bolt, lands in the neck of the orc. He grabs at it, gasping for air. He can't speak, and he falls to the ground, looking for who might have shot him, and he begins to crawl towards the cave opening.
All right, Splendorius, now it's your turn.
Splendorius coolly walk up, and he's going to take out his javelin, and he's going to throw it.
Splendorius calmly walks forward and throws his javelin, landing in the back of the already wounded orc. The orc, without being able to make a sound, is now pinned to the ground, wriggling on the javelin, his lifeless body no longer moving towards the cave.
Splendorius is going to drag the orc off to the side to try and hide the body.
Splendorius grabs the feet of the orc and quietly pulls him around to the other side of the boulder he was near, hiding his corpse.
Sandwich will lead the team of oxen down to the cave mouth.
The wagon now sits next to the cave mouth. The zombie is still stacked like firewood in the back. What shall we do next?
Azorio says yes, that is the question. Do we go in and seek them out, or do we wait and ambush them out here?
Splendorius says,
Azorio, allow me to propose a third alternative.
Aye.
I say this would be a perfect opportunity for us to use trickery and deception. Perhaps there would be a way for us to get these orcs to destroy themselves from the inside.
How could this be accomplished? Asked Azorio.
Let's get away from the entrance so we can talk about this some more before I tell you about my strange yet intriguing plan.
Okay, let's move the cart as well.
We go and tie up the oxen and the cart, like kind of hidden in the woods.
There is no woods, you're in the hills, but the party takes the oxen and moves them around the hillside so they are out of sight of the cave mouth.
Sandowish says, I'll scout the area for any other exits of their vile tunnel system that they must have under here. Sandowish is going to scout around the hills to see if there's any other exits nearby.
Sandowish takes a close look at the hillside and finds no other openings other than the cave mouth.
It appears that this is the only way in and the only way out.
We have them trapped.
Perhaps we can move a boulder in front of the entrance, and then they would starve to death in a horrible, agonizing, painful exit from this mortal coil.
All you see is a large boulder that would be very difficult to move.
Do you still have that rope?
Yeah.
Says Azorio to Sandowish.
You look over at Sandowish and he's already swinging around a lasso with the rope. Of course I've got the rope.
That may come in handy.
You tie the rope around the boulder to the oxen, the 12 zombies behind the oxen, and then you yourself pushing from behind against the boulder as quietly as you can with 2 oxen, 12 zombies, and 5 warriors.
And don't forget about Boney.
Boney is leading the charge. Boney leads the 2 oxen, 12 zombies on the rope, while the 5 warriors push as quietly as such a mob is able to. Everyone eyes each other. Nithril quietly counts down with his hand. 1, 2, 3, and you push, and the oxen and Boney and the zombies pull, and there's a great rumbling as the boulder begins to tip over, and it falls, but it wasn't enough, and it crashes in front of the cave opening, narrowing it so only 1 or 2 people can exit the cave at a time, but not able to fully seal the cave. You hear a great roar from within. Taking the first initiative, Nethril runs to the entrance, puts his hands out, and blasts 3 magical missiles into the cave opening. And they must have landed because you hear a large, painful roar. Now, Sildar runs up to the cave mouth, pulls his bow back, and looses one into the cave as well. And you hear the similar sound of that roar coming forth. Roar!
Sandowish is gonna move above the cave mouth and hold.
Sandowish hurries to the top of the cave mouth and awaits for anyone to exit. An orc flies out and heads to attack Sildar as he stands in front of the cave.
Sandowish attacks him first with a crossbow bolt.
As the orc rushes out towards Sildar, a bolt from above lands into his back from Sandowish. The bolt lands in the orc's back and he screams out, but he still heads towards Sildar and attacks. He swings down an axe, but Sildar is too light on his feet and jumps back as the orc lands the blade into the ground just in front of him.
Splendorius is going to stand next to the entrance with his battle axe ready to bring it down with all of his might on whoever's coming through the entrance.
Splendorius awaits for the next enemy to leave the cave.
Azorio situates himself towards the cave entrance and casts Burning Hands at 2nd level. Azorio says, Splendorius, I think we can put roasted orc on the restaurant menu.
Now we're really cooking.
Azorio takes a stance in front of the cave mouth as he lets loose a cone of fire into the narrow opening of the cave. He hears shouts and screams of burning flesh from within. The pungent smell of burning flesh protrudes from the cave entrance. Splendorius, with axe raised, sees the burnt flesh on the face of an orc as it begins to push itself out the narrow entrance.
Splendorius says, "Die!" He brings down his axe.
Splendorius axe perfectly lands in the orc's neck, cleaving its head clean from its body.
Oh,
Its hands still pushing against the entrance of the cave as he falls limp, causing the cave entrance to be blocked even more.
yeah!
The zombies, seeing their chance, begin to march towards the entrance to the cave, surrounding it, ready for anyone exiting the cave. From out the cave launches a strong, brooding orc, and you hear behind him, "Get him, Brower Axe Biter!" He's ready to attack, and he moves forward, but the zombies surround him, grabbing him from all sides. The zombies bring down their scimitars as they crowd around Brower, the axe biter. Scimitars hacking away at the axe biter. His roar from within. Oh! Oh! Ah! Oh! Oh! He falls to the ground, barely awake, bleeding horribly. Nethril has the zombies part, and he walks up to the axe biter, and he says, "Surrender now. You are hopeless." Bower the axe biter says, "I can't go on anymore." Oh. And he passes out. Sildar walks up to the cave mouth and he says, "The rest of you, your leader is dead. Come out quietly. We won't harm you." One orc that's still left outside of the cave that tried to attack Sildar runs for the hills when he sees the axe biter unconscious on the ground. The orcs come out with their hands up, one by one, through the narrow entrance of the cave.
Sandowish tries to detect if any of them make a noise.
As they push out of the cave, each of them go, and all four that were left are now outside the cave.
Sandowish is going to stay silent on top of the cave with his crossbow aimed at them.
Splendorius is going to go into the entrance of the cave.
Splendorius enters into the darkness of the cave, and he can't see anything.
Splendorius says, "Azorio, please come in here. I can't see anything."
I say we keep our eyes on these 4 orcs here and figure out what we want to do with them first.
I'll surround them with my zombies. Etherol surrounds the 4 orcs with zombies.
Splendorius says, "You haven't killed all these orcs yet? Why are they still alive?"
Good point! And the zombies attack the orcs that are left, hacking them to bits, killing each one with their scimitars.
Azorio, come on!
Oh, no, please!
Sildar, Netheril, search everybody and gather up all their treasure and anything that's interesting. We're going to be in here. We're doing something very important. You stand guard.
All you find around what was left of the campfire is an unlocked treasure chest inside the cave.
Sandowish checks for traps.
Sandowish checks for traps, but clearly these orcs were too foolish to do such a clever thing. And you fling open the lid of the treasure chest. There's a bunch of money.
Yeah.
All right. There's a bunch of money.
There's like dollars and like shillings and pounds and
You find a hoard of coins clearly stolen from homesteaders nearby and a vial of perfume.
Splendorius says, "I'll take all of the vials of perfume and you can have the rest of the money."
Okay.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Well, how much is this perfume worth?
Probably not as much as all the rest of that money,
Hey.
but you already agreed,
No,
Splendorius.
hold on a second.
I'm sorry, a deal
There's
is
no
a deal.
paperwork. There's no
deal is a
paperwork.
deal.
Don't pull that halfling bullshit on me, all right?
Whoa!
Your word is your bond. You said that yourself.
Look, I was just spitballing, okay? We hadn't even spit in our hands or anything.
Splendorius would like to appraise the perfume.
You smell the perfume and you're so engaged with the smell, you forget that you even wanted to know what it cost. You love the smell so much, you do take that trade.
I'll take all 3. I don't even care anymore. This is the best smell I've ever smelled in my life. In fact, I'm going to take a shower in it tomorrow.
After finding your treasure, you head north again with the horde of zombies, and you return to Old Owl Well. Nethril says, "Thank you very much, and for you helping me. Here's a potion of healing, a scroll of darkness, and this tiny jeweled box. That'd be perfect for putting your perfume bottles in. And I shall head northward at some point to talk to Agatha, this Banshee. I'm sure her voice is beautiful."
Yes, well, you'd be mistaken.
"You're welcome to join me and my zombies for our zombie rave in celebration of our victory. Hit it, boys!"
Sandwich says, 5 stones. Nithril, where should we go next?
"I don't know, nor care. I'm having a great time." And he jumps into the conga line of zombies and starts dancing around the tower.
Since you're new, Nithril, your share will be 10 gold.
"No, we're done. Transaction done. I must stay here for my studies."
You're coming with us. You're one of us now.
"Boys, get them!" And the zombies start coming towards you.
Okay. Nithril, you're cool. You're cool.
"That's what I thought. You are lucky I helped you. Now leave me to my party."
Okay, well, we'll party with you for a little while.
"Okay."
Splendorius says,
Yes, after our hot victory tonight, I say we lead the charge now to take down the people in that castle who pray to the vile goblin god Maglubiet. We shall take over that castle, and then that shall be the seat of our power.
Sildar says, "But the way we find that castle is we must go to Thunder Tree."
Yes, we'll go to Thunder Tree first, but then we will go to the castle.
"Yes, because at Thunder Tree we'll find that druid who will lead us to the castle."
Yes, Sildar, we know.
"Now, let's party our asses off with these zombies." And he begins to dance with the zombies and Nethril. The 4 stones party late into the night with the zombie horde and Nethril. They get good and drunk and fall asleep where they lie, ready for the adventure ahead of them in the morning.
I mean, I don't pee outside nowadays, but I like to pee outside. I got in trouble with the police because of it one time.
It'd be funnier if he saddled up next to you guys and started taking a leak too. Actually, he starts to take a dump so that he has the true public urination and defecation charge.
Why is it the same charge? They're like 2 quite different things, I would say.
They start attaching weird things. It's like public defecation and urination and murder.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Open the venting door. Open the venting door.
Sponsors by Anson's mom.
Hey guys!
Bye, Craig.
Okay, bye.